Vechain has been pumping hard. Should we be concerned and preparing ourselves for a pullback, or are these good times going to continue? In this video, we're going to dive down into the technical analysis for Vechain, really focusing in on that hourly view of what is going on right now to see what could potentially happen next. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. Really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, let's jump on down to the desktop and get into a little bit of Vechain here and see exactly what is going on with the price action of VET. Okay guys, so as you can see, we're on the weekly chart. This kind of gives us a big structure and the overview of what's going on. Now, we like Elliott theory here, Elliott waves, and obviously this is a 5 impulsive move to the upside on the weekly chart for Vechain. Okay, the rules have been adhered to, and we are tracking quite nicely. It's a pretty good example of what this looks like. Okay, slight distraction over here, I guess, with a slight variation with September being a month of pullbacks. And again, we are starting to get some good traction up into this 5th wave. And again, you know, things are tracking quite nicely, right? We take a look that we're overbought on our stochastic RSI. This is something that's quite familiar with wave 3, and of course wave 1. Wave 2 was obviously sold, and so was wave 4. And right now things are actually tracking quite nicely. Okay, obviously there was this little bit of a blip in the middle where September pulled us back down, but again we're tracking nicely. We've had several weeks now of constantly green candles, which is good for Vechain. So I'm looking pretty good and progressing nicely to the upside. Okay, so overall this chart does actually look pretty good, and we do have a trend-based Fibonacci retracement, or I should say trend-based extension on here. And again, this runs from the low area of wave 2, the high of wave 3, and the low of wave 4. So you take 3 trends into consideration: a downtrend for wave 2, the uptrend for wave 3, and the downtrend of wave 4. All 3 of those basically showing us with a 4.236 extension at $1.20 for Vechain. That's kind of the maximum I can see in the data here for the charts, and it is based on the trends of the bull run. Okay, so if things were to continue the way they are, then we are expecting, you know, Vechain to kind of top out at about $1.20, which wouldn't be too bad at all. Again, that's kind of your optimized model. We can be more conservative about it and aim for $1.01, which is basically the 4.236 extension from the high of 3 and the low of 4, or more specifically, just one downward trend. Okay, that then allows us to kind of be more conservative about the next wave up. Okay, so obviously the weekly chart's looking very, very good, right? But what about the here and the now? And for this, we're going to jump down into our hourly chart. Okay, the hourly chart, basically I've been mapping out a trend for the members, or a trade for the members here, and basically, you know, this is something that we were talking about last week when we were looking at completing wave B. Now, I didn't quite get the bottom of wave B nailed. I thought this was going to be a little bit higher. We actually fell down right into the 15.2 cent area, so a little bit lower than my expectations. Okay, so I did buy in a little bit higher than I was expecting to. But that being said, the trend for wave C was going to be here. Just took a little bit of time to actually kind of see come in. Now, obviously, the target for this originally, when I thought that wave B was going to be shallower, was 17.7 cent. Okay, that was my target after the buy zone. Now, we are heading up there at 17.4 at the moment. We're pushing up nicely at the point of recording this video, but I am concerned that we won't actually reach 17.7. And this is just because there's so much resistance around this area here. Okay, we are heavily overbought on this chart as well. So again, whether we actually reach that 17.7 is going to be really interesting. Now, with this kind of motion that we've seen in the last few hours, this is really interesting. And this is something that potentially might smash right the way past our 17.7 cent target. Although I am concerned about that, I personally would probably exit the trade right now and wait to see what happens next, because there's a couple of different things that could occur. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually grab hold of a Fibonacci retracement tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab hold of this fib, I'm going to throw it onto here, and I'm going to go ahead and move this over to our wave C here, right? So basically we can see that we are actually, I need to put it over here, really. Yeah, just about there. Okay, so we can see that this, in theory, should have actually kind of topped out at about 17.2 based on this move, right? If wave C was going to equal wave A, then it should actually have topped out at 17.27. We've already gone above and beyond that. So the next thing that we're really looking for is this area just here. Now, I haven't got my review in the right place. Basically 18.1. So I'm just going to quickly move this down into the 18.1 cent area. Let me just grab that. 18.10, which is fine. So we're almost there. Okay, so this here is actually the area that we want to be reviewing, okay? And this is because if we push past 1.382, this is no longer a wave C, but becomes an impulsive move in itself. So if I go ahead and actually delete that off, we can actually see that this could be a really interesting move. It could be an impulsive move, right? As in what we saw on our weekly chart. We could push up, we then pull back for wave 2, then push up for wave 3 and wave 4, right? So wave 3 being probably being the biggest, and then wave 4 and so forth, right? So we could actually end up with this impulsive move like this rather than corrective move that we've been following. We have already gone past the trend line, the downward trend line here of what we were in a wave B. And again, this would be forming a much bigger part of an ABC in itself anyway. So we have to be aware that things are looking pretty interesting for Vechain right now. So right now we are tracking this area of 17.3. We're just pulling back again. I do expect us to kind of be in and around this area of resistance. Could be the reversal. And here we could also be looking for an ABC to the downside, right? But again, we aren't going to know until one of these trends starts to actually change. Okay, so we are looking to see if we can get past 18.1. Okay, if we do, then we're actually looking very good. It's an impulsive move to the upside. If, however, we actually start to see a reversal where we are right now, which would be my concern, and then actually we would be looking for an ABC correction back to the downside. Okay, and no one will know how deep this will go until we finish wave A, and then we'll obviously just be able to buy in, and then basically take this to the next area to the downside, right? So potential on the cards here, it could go in either direction, which is never what people want to hear, but we're right at the cusp of knowing which direction things are likely to go. With the serious amount of action actually following this right now, if we throw the volume on, you can see the volume is still building. This actually gives us a very good opportunity to see that we could be an impulsive move now, moving up into the 618, the 702, 786 of the Fibonacci retracement. These are the main key areas for Vechain where we're looking to try to push past. But we could also be going after that 22 cent area, which would complete the cup and handle that's been forming for months now. So again, there's so many things going on with Vechain right now that this is a really interesting point in time that we start to see Vechain's price action really start to move rapidly to the upside with an increasing volume. Now, one of the main reasons I am concerned is there is artificial intelligence of advice.io. Now, for those who do not know, there's a link in the description down below. You can use this one, sign up completely for free. You don't have to worry about any kind of subscription fees or anything like that. Now, the AI and machine learning of advice.io helps us understand the underlying value of cryptocurrency. They help us understand certain things that are going on that might not be visible from the charts, right? Today, we can see that the candles for Vechain are moving rapidly to the upside. Yet, the artificial intelligence has indicated something is wrong with the underlying data and has actually pulled this down a rating from A2 to A3. Okay, so it is still top tier. It's not a huge change, but it is a change, and we should acknowledge that there is a change in the underlying data. Okay, so the fear and greed index is actually looking very greedy, so that's not a problem. The AMI-HAD ratio, liquidity, not a problem with an A2 rating. The problem actually comes in from a Sharpe ratio, which is a C2 rating. This is actually taken a dip below the 50-day average. So basically, this is your risk-reward ratio, and the risk-reward ratio right now from this artificial intelligence is indicating that the risks outweigh the rewards, and FOMOing in right now might not be a very good idea. Okay, and this then basically reaffirms the fact that we are at the top of potential wave C. Now, if we do go into an impulsive move and we do continue the growth past 18.1 cent, then I think this is going to reverse tomorrow and the AI was just misreading the data. If, however, right now we get that reversal, then sure thing, I think this artificial intelligence picked up on something in the background that we were not really visible, or was not visible to us, and we should be concerned. So right now is a really interesting point in time for Vechain because it can go in either direction. The AI is thinking it's likely to go down, okay, because the Sharpe ratio is basically indicating that you might not want to have exposure to Vechain right now. Whereas everything else in the background here is looking very, very good. Moving averages are A2, profitability is an A1, the liquidity is an A2, the fear and greed index is an A2, but the risks outweigh the rewards, right? So we should be concerned, right? It'd be foolish of us not to be concerned with what's going on right now as we push up against this resistance level. Considering that we are overbought, I am expecting an ABC to the downside, but I would love to see this thing push past 18.1 and go impulsive. And if this volume continues the way that it is, we could FOMO our way past a lot of this resistance and actually be in a pretty good position for an ABC correction to come in after. So that could be something else that the artificial intelligence is also picking up on. Okay, the fact that we could push past 18.1 and then actually have an ABC just coming back down, back testing the previous resistance before we go up into an impulsive third wave, which is also something that is possible. So right now, although I'm not being very helpful in making you have really clear information, what I am trying to do is basically make you guys aware that this can go in either direction. The artificial intelligence is kind of backing an ABC move to the downside, and the charts and the volume are indicating a big push to the upside. Okay, so it's very unclear right now, which means an open position on Vechain, in my opinion, is highly risky and something that I wouldn't want to do personally. So for me, I would be closing out of this trade right now, waiting to see what happens next. Reviewing when we get past 18.1, there would be an ABC correction even if we are impulsive, and that would be a good opportunity to get back in, again, at very similar prices that we are right now, but with the understanding that we are likely to push up much further in the near future. If we have an ABC right now, then you do see some of those profits completely wiped out that we've been experiencing right now. So when we got in at 15 cent, and then we start to see this thing push up to 17.5 cent, only to see that wiped out because we were unable to kind of get our heads around what was going on with the underlying data. So for me, I would be exiting out, waiting to see what happens next, and then going to the next level. Now, obviously 18.1, if we do push past it, is going to be a fantastic opportunity to pull back down. I would expect us to kind of pull back down into the range of around 16 cent or so, mainly around this area here where we had this kind of consolidation with wave A and where we kind of pushed up and found resistance in on wave C. That would be an interesting zone for a buyback. Okay, so again, I'll be looking at those kind of things as well. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. Chris is not a financial advisor. advice.io are not offering you financial advice. What we're trying to do here is educate you on what is going on and what we are seeing inside the data so that you can make more informed decisions. Guys, I'm going to leave that video right there. If you have found this video useful and informative, then hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.